Hey kids, on today's episode, we're going to go look at one of the classic Disney movies.
There. Whoop. Well, what do you think of it? Why,
That's right, we're going to make a birthday cake because it's the week before Thanksgiving and it also happens to be the week of my birthday. And I want a cake. Now, I'm not going to make it the same way that they made it because that's crazy and I'm not Duff the baker. But I will be making a birthday cake with a couple layers and have blue frosting on it. So join us on today's episode of Castles, Capes, and Clones Cuisine. So on today's show, I'm going to do something a little bit different. Normally I show you how to make stuff using ingredients you might have in the house or easily accessible. And usually a lot of things from scratch. For today's cake, however, I'm actually going to use box mix. I know. What's the point, right? Well, I'm not just going to do what it says on the box. We're going to doctor up some box mix. So the cake I'll be making has 4 layers. There'll be a layer, 2 layers of vanilla cake, and then 2 layers of chocolate cake, and then it's going to have a blue buttercream frosting on it. Truth be told, I'm not much of a baker. Done this a couple times. It turned out pretty okay. So, it's my birthday anyway, so whatever, as long as it's cake. All right, for the first layer of cake, we're gonna do a yellow cake. I don't know if yellow is a flavor, but here we are, yellow cake. So you're gonna need 1 box of yellow cake mix, but do not follow the instructions on the back of the box. So instead of the stuff on the back, we're going to need a cup of whole milk, 3 eggs. We're gonna do 2 egg yolks. Save the whites. I broke the yolks, but whatever, that's cool. 1 stick of melted butter. This is not melted, but I will melt it shortly after. And then lastly, we're going to need about a ½ teaspoon of vanilla extract, and that's for the yellow cake. Okay, and now for the chocolate layers, we're going to use, of course, a chocolate cake mix. Any kind will do. Again, do not follow the instructions on the back. For the chocolate cake, we're going to do, again, a stick of melted butter, 3 eggs, 2 egg whites from the previous cake, a cup of hot coffee, and also ½ a cup of sour cream. And that's going to be the chocolate cake part. And then lastly, for the frosting, you're going to need a whole lot of powdered sugar. This is 2 2-pound bags, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to use it all. You're going to need about 6-ish tablespoons of room temperature whole milk, 4 sticks of room temperature butter, about a tablespoon of vanilla. And at this point, you can color it whatever you want. Similar to the Sleeping Beauty movie, I'm going to be doing a bluish color, like a dark blue. But I would suggest using a gel food dye instead of a liquid food dye. Liquid can change the consistency of the buttercream. To make blue, I am going to be using royal blue and purple. All right, let's get to cooking. All right, once you get the ingredients ready, this is actually a really simple cake to make. It just takes a little bit of time because you're making 2 different cakes. If you have 4 cake pans, this is super simple. Now you can do this in a bowl with a hand mixer. You can also do it by hand. It's just going to be a lot of elbow grease. So you just take your cake mix and stick it in the bowl. Then you take your melted butter, pour it in. You're going to do your egg whites, your 3 eggs, the sour cream, This is awkward in this angle. And then you want to add your hot coffee. So basically you just add everything to the bowl and then you mix it. Now the thing is, you want to mix this for a good 2 minutes and not any less. Set timer for 2 minutes.
Okay, 2 minutes. And we're starting now.
While this was mixing, I actually prepared my cake pans. So these are 2 8-inch cake pans. I sprayed it with some cooking spray, put some flour in it, and kind of sifted it around so it's kind of evenly coated. I'm also going to take some parchment paper. Take a little bit more spray. I also forgot to add that you should preheat your oven to 350, which I did not do, and I'm doing that right now. But by the time I put this in there, it should be done. So with the cake pans prepared and the ovening, I am going to try to evenly disperse this batter into the 2 pans. Let's see if I can do this. I mean, it doesn't have to be super exact. All right, that's looking a little bit good. So give it a couple. Here's a tip from some bakers I saw. Is you also want to take some sugar and kind of put it on top. It's supposed to help not have it puff up as much. Does that work? I don't know, but who am I? So what I'm going to do is actually bake these for 15 minutes. I'm going to turn the pan around and then bake it for another 20 minutes. All right, so now for the yellow cake, same thing as the chocolate one. Basically, just put the mix in the bowl. Got your room temperature whole milk, melted butter, egg yolks, 3 eggs, and ½ teaspoon of vanilla. And the same as before, I'm just going to go ahead and mix this for 2 minutes. Set timer for 2 minutes.
Sure, 2 minutes. Starting now.
And then once again, try to evenly disperse this. Sugar on top again. And the same thing, I'm going to throw in the oven for 15 minutes and then turn around and then cook it for another 20. So after it's done, I'm going to let it cool for 10 minutes on the rack in the pan, and then after 10 minutes I'm going to remove the cake from the pan, put it on the cooling rack, and let that cool again. And then I'll see you back here. Okay, so the chocolate cake has cooled and it's good to go. What I'm going to do is actually flatten the top and then wrap it in plastic and then put it in the fridge overnight. And then I'll do the same for the vanilla cake when it comes out. But let me show you that works. Because, you know, it's uneven on top, even though I put the sugar. Didn't pop up too bad. So when I actually decorate this cake, it's going to be layers, right? So I kind of want it as flat as possible, otherwise you're going to get a weird kind of lopsided cake. Which technically is closer to what it looks like in Sleeping Beauty, but that's not what I'm going for. So what I'm going to do is kind of using a serrated knife on a turntable. Now if you don't have one, you can just kind of go around yourself, but I'm not going all the way through, but I'm just going to turn and cut. That's right. So there you go. Not bad. So that way you have more of an even top. I'm going to go ahead and do the same with the other one. Again, as even as possible, kind of cut in, turn, don't cut yourself. There you go. There's that and that. So that's nice and flat-ish, so that, you know, when it sits, it's fine. And then when the vanilla cake is cooled, I'm going to do the same thing for that. Again, wrap it in plastic wrap individually, put it in the fridge overnight or a couple hours. And that's when we're going to go ahead and make the buttercream and then decorate the cake. So I'll see you then. All right, buttercream time. We're going to take some room temperature butter. This is like 4 sticks. And we're going to mix it in the stand mixer here for 5 minutes. Every so often, scrape down the sides. So while this is mixing, you might as well go ahead and sift your 6 cups of powdered sugar. It's important to sift it out because you don't want any of those, you get clumps of sugar, and you don't want that in your buttercream. All right, now that it's been mixing for about 5 minutes, we're going to go ahead and add the powdered sugar about half cup at a time. Basically, every time you add sugar, you want to let it mix until you can't see it anymore. And remember, when you're adding powdered sugar, start out, turn it off, start out slow, and then go back up to probably around 2. Otherwise, this is going to fly everywhere. So every so often, you want to, kind of get the stuff off the paddle, off the sides. Also, when you're working with powdered sugar, it's going to get everywhere. It doesn't matter. So now that it's kind of incorporated, I'm going to go ahead and add 1 tablespoon of vanilla. I'm just going to eyeball it, because whatever. Vanilla is vanilla. Woo-hoo. Again, scrape down the sides and get the stuff off the paddle. And now we're going to add food coloring. So if you're going for a specific color, you're going to have to kind of experiment with that. So I'm going for a deeper blue color, but you only want to do a little bit at a time. I can taste it too. Oh yeah. That's the buttercream. Why did I talk like Borat? So I'm going to go with blue, royal blue with a little bit of purple in it. So this is warm, room temperature milk, whole milk. We're going to go ahead and dilute this mixture a little bit to get the consistency we want. Again, a little bit at a time. Cool. So I put a bowl of it here just in case I need it. I put in about 3 tablespoons, and it's looking like it's probably where I want it to be. Depending on where you are, if you're in a dry climate, you might need to add more. If you're in a humid climate, you might not need to add that much. So I just keep a little bit on hand just in case. So I'm going to go ahead and add some of our dye to it. All right, you're going to do this the old-fashioned way. Scrape down the paddle again, but the blue is getting to where I want it to be. Maybe it's another bit more. All right, I think I got it where I want it. This is not a non-messy activity, especially when these don't work. Thanks, eyedroppers. All right, so here comes the fun part / the most anxiety-driven part. Decorating and assembling the cake. You have to go chocolate, vanilla. So I'm going to start with a chocolate. So you want to start with just a smear on the... Now if you have a cake board, that would be cool. I don't have one. If you don't have one of these, no problem. It'd just be a little bit more harder. Get the center. Cool. I just want enough to kind of cover the layers with a thin layer. In the words of Jeff Morrow, crust to crust is a must. Now when we do the sides and stuff, when the full thing is assembled, you put stuff, I mean, like, there'll be little crevices and whatever, and we'll get to fill that in, but, yeah. All right, look at vanilla. When you're adding your layer, kind of press down firmly. I'm not going to do the sides yet. I'm going to do that at the end. I just wanted to get the middle kind of layers set. And pray that I have enough frosting. I just realized I have an offset spatula. Why don't I use that? There you go. All right, last layer. So for this top layer, I'm actually going to turn it upside down. Press it down. Yeah, whatever. That's cool. Now, this is where we dollop on the rest of the frosting. Should I play some cake decorating montage music for you? I'm going to start by kind of just filling in the spaces in between. I'm not worried about looks quite yet. I'm just looking at filling in. You can see there I'm kind of just filling in the cracks and the layers in between the cakes. Once I've done that, then I'll start trying to smooth it out to where it looks nice. So I'm using a multitude of tools here just to help me find and fill in the holes. Again, I mean, really up to you. Obviously, the cake from Sleeping Beauty wasn't a masterpiece, so this doesn't really need to be one either. But it is for my birthday. Now when I'm doing the sides, I'm applying a little bit of pressure so that it stays even with the cake. Now with each pass, it kind of pushes in the frosting so you can see where you still need to fill in some gaps. I mean, is it perfect? No. Is it evenly coated? Pretty much. So I'm going to put this in the fridge, let it kind of solidify-ish, and then we're going to cut it open. So I'll see you in a little bit. All right, kids. So this has been sitting in my fridge for a couple hours now. So it's pretty well set. You know, not the smoothest looking cake. A little bit of thin frosting up here. But like I said, I'm not a cake decorator, so. But let's cut into it, see how it looks like inside, shall we? Okay, first slice. Now it's pretty thick, so. Oh. Hey, not bad. See, now it's starting to melt in my hand, but let's see how it tastes, though, before I drop it. It's pretty good looking, right? There you go. The key to doctoring box mix is just kind of replacing things with things with flavor, because it calls for like oil and water. I used butter instead of oil, and then I used milk, whole milk instead of water for the yellow cake, and then I used hot coffee for the chocolate cake. You know, the hot coffee was to also help wake up the chocolate components in the chocolate cake because it could be sitting on the shelf for who knows how long. And I think the hot water helps that. So, it's really easy to make a doctored box mix. Sure, you can't say I made it totally from scratch, but in all honesty, no one's really going to know anyway. And it makes your life so much easier. So, and gives you more time to do things like the frosting. So, enjoy. Happy birthday to me. One of the drawbacks to this cake? I have nowhere to put it. Oh well. If you like this video, be sure to hit like and subscribe, and tune in every Thursday for the Castles, Capes, and Clones podcast, and check out some of our other videos on our channel. Thanks for watching. Catch you on the flip side.